Okay, hello and welcome to the Spirit Hunters podcast. I'm Lance White Eagle, and with me are
Hunter White Eagle,
Chrissy Holtz,
Brenda White Eagle,
Lisa Marie, WE,
Shane White Eagle.
nice rhyming.
yeah.
Bars.
Would that make me Chrissy Ho?
Wait a minute. No comment.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Pretty goofy move.
You can tell we're all family.
And on this episode, we're going to be talking mostly about our investigation at the Van Horn Mansion in Niagara County, New York. And Shane, you want to talk about some of the history of the...
Every time I forget. I don't know.
Melinda.
All right, it is 200 years old, beautiful old mansion. The Van Horns were a very prominent family. Started the town and the mill industry in that area, and then went into all kinds of other businesses. Led pretty much politics for a number of years, and several of the children and grandchildren went on to be congressmen and so forth, assembly people. Lots of happenings started there, and they kind of spread out. Initially, there was a swamp there. They had all the workers pretty much die of the diseases from the swamp, but they came back and ended up figuring that out, and they burnt to the ground, but built it again, burnt to the ground, built it again, and actually became a millionaire in a time where that was, rare.
Yep. And today it is kind of owned and operated by the Historical Society of Niagara County, correct?
Yep. Rose runs that program, and I should say James Van Horn Sr. was the one that started all that.
Mm-hmm. And so we were, brought in and led through the house and kind of given some of the history by Rose, right, and her daughter.
I already forgot her name.
We're sorry.
She did a great job.
Yeah, she did. It took us through the whole place, and the place is huge. And what was your guys'
massive
initial impressions? Not even necessarily ghost stuff, but just whatever struck you.
Beautifully
about the house.
massive.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful building.
Yeah.
And historic, beautiful, giant oak trees in the
Oh,
yard.
they had this beautiful dome that went to the top
with
of the house.
glass
Oh,
ceiling.
yeah,
That
stained
was-
glass
That was
dome.
the first thing I saw when I
Beautiful
walked
stained
in
glass
there. Like
dome.
my jaw dropped. It was just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Um,
but I thought some of the
quaint
rooms were
carriage house in the
small.
back.
I thought some of the rooms were small, especially the nursery when she
They were
said there
small,
were 9
which is
kids
typical for
sharing
that
it.
time period.
Yeah, it was like a 10, not even, more like an 8x6 room.
And you have
And they said it
Yeah.
had like 9 kids.
children sharing it.
I mean,
I was interested in
how
the-
much space do a baby take? Not much.
Yeah, 9 of them
Little
just
doors.
paraded up to God beside each other.
And a baby could be a pillow for the younger kids.
Yeah. Or like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer rents his house out and he keeps them in a big friggin' chest of drawers. Just slide them out.
There you
tuck them
go.
in.
Well, the house had about 3 or 4 fireplaces, or maybe 5.
Laundry basket.
But that room had to be cold, so you pile those kids up. It's nice and warm.
Yep.
Yeah, and all the rooms were connected on the second
Yeah.
floor in like a big U.
To get to the one room from the other, you had to go through like the bathroom or somebody's bedroom, and it was just all.
Yeah, you couldn't get lost. There were connected
Yeah.
doors to every room all the way around.
There were a lot of nice period costumes and outfits laying on the bed and on mannequins.
Yep. And there was a basement. There was the main floor.
With
there
a
was
cistern.
Then
Which
Yeah,
I've never
the
seen one
cistern in
either.
the basement.
the
Yeah.
attic, it had a separate room with a door with the little cot and the mirror
Yeah.
and stuff in
The
it.
attic
and then,
was
The
massive.
Yeah, it
attic
was
was used
really
for
big.
servants' quarters and a game room, and later too, supposedly, where Melinda, which we'll get into, was kept.
Mhm.
The mystery behind Melinda. Van
First
Horn.
wife of James Van Horn Jr.
Yep. And
Second wife of that.
Yeah,
well, it
second
could talk
wife.
about
Second
that.
wife.
Second
It's the
wife,
second
yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
A
We can
lot of
start
them
with
were
that, yeah.
buried on the property. A lot of the family over the years. Melinda was, but she was buried separate. And years later, the family moved their plot
Yeah.
to the local cemetery and left her.
And
There.
Yeah, it wasn't
Melinda's-
actually the family. It was the family that owned the property afterwards. They
Yeah.
had the Van Horns moved to the
Yeah.
cemetery. And it was a rose garden the cemetery was in the Rose Garden except for where Melinda was.
Yeah.
And Melinda's death, there was questions about how she actually passed away.
They said it was during
Lots
childbirth,
of
right?
questions.
That's what they say.
Some reports was that, other reports was that she just died. I had actually read that she was, I forget where I saw it when I was looking through the other, not the ones that like, through the Historical Society and like searched it. And one report had claimed that like she was left at the house when James moved somewhere else. And she was
Really?
like there by herself for a time and might have died.
Perhaps
there.
that's why she was by herself.
It's
Well,
weird though
I don't
because
know.
of
He
how long
raised
they
his
were
kids
married
in the
before
house
she
well after her
Yeah.
death.
died.
Yeah.
Remember you guys saw his death certificate.
We also
Mhm.
want to mention that Melinda, like we said, was buried separately in somewhere in the backyard. And when they found her, they found she was what
They
inside,
used ground penetrating radar and found her.
and she
remains.
was inside. Her remains were inside like this metal cage-looking thing, right? Shackled up.
Yes. Her body had apparently been dismembered and pieces of it were missing.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I don't remember.
Yeah, when
hearing
they
that
moved
before.
her and gave her like they put a monument up to her by that little thing, but
Yeah.
they
What-
didn't find all of her.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
It was
They
very
were,
strange.
which it also adds to the stories. Officially, what the Van Horn family said was she died in childbirth. But on James Jr.'s death certificate, it does not say one of his children being born of Melinda.
No.
It said of a woman named with the last name Harrington, which they assumed might have been
Was a
one
servant.
of the servants.
Yeah.
But that was an assumption. It could have been a worker of theirs. They had a lot of people.
Of course, it wasn't necessarily
I know.
noted, but the first wife's James was only 29.
Yeah.
His first wife was also significantly younger than him.
Like early 20s.
Yeah.
Early 20s. She died within what, 2 years of them being married?
One. She
Yeah.
died 3 days
No, that was
after.
Melinda.
That was Melinda.
Oh,
was
I
it?
The
thought
first
that's what you were
wife.
talking about.
The first wife died
Yeah.
short
It was like a
and
few
suspicious too, like 2-3 years they were married.
And then
She
when-
died and he married Melissa.
I think
Melinda in a few
Melinda
weeks.
immediately.
Yeah.
And you might
Yeah.
be talking about James Sr. James Sr.'s first wife died. He had 3 children with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, he didn't name any of them Junior. That wife died within weeks. He married again. The first son born of that wife, he named
James
Junior,
Jr., yeah.
and who ended up getting the house.
No, it was the same with Junior because
Yeah,
Melinda was
he
the
married
second
It was a
one.
Melinda,
similar
and
story.
then within
Yeah.
like a year later, she
Yeah.
had passed.
Yeah, he had
away.
lost. It was like 3 years span.
Mm-hmm.
He got married twice and both wives died.
And we're not saying it's suspicious. We're not saying they killed him, but it seems suspicious. And when you are the all-controlling power and everything in the town,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Well, they died in childbirth," who's going to question?
Oh, and
Yeah.
usually if you die of childbirth, all of you is still there. You don't have pieces of
Yeah.
you missing.
Yeah,
just
so,
disappear.
you know,
And this was 200 years ago.
And
They
not to
didn't
mention-
keep reports like that yet.
No.
If you
The
died
town
in-
hadn't
yeah.
been established.
And if you die during childbirth, nobody's going to bury you in a metal cage
or dismember you.
or dismember you. You know,
Or
so
separate you
which is
from
why
the
I
family.
said the mystery
Yeah.
of Melinda.
And even the historical society, it's not some like they're very open about like this is
Yeah.
real hinky whatever
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something suspicious
Um,
that happened there.
So since we're talking about that, do you want to talk about your
The
experience in the
cistern?
basement?
So
I wanted to
are
say-
all
I wanted to
cisterns
say
the
hi to
same,
Jeannie.
like look wise?
Okay.
Hi, Jeannie. I see you just
Is
joined
this
in.
one-
We are talking about the Van Horn
It's usually
Mansion
just-
in Niagara County.
So we decided, I didn't even realize it when we did the walkthrough. Lance, Christy, and Monkey pointed out that there was a cistern in there. Oh, I think Scott too. So I had the brilliant idea of taking my big behind in there and trying to do a spirit box session while these guys asked me some questions.
Yeah, and it wasn't like your typical cistern like we saw at the
Yeah.
asylum where it was just open a divot. Like for some reason they put a big wall around.
Literally, the wall
Like
came
a
up to my
four-
chin, and
Yeah.
I'm 5'9", almost 5'10".
Yeah, this
right?
cistern wasn't buried into the basement floor.
It was built up.
They just
It was
added
built,
walls
yeah.
in the basement.
Yeah.
And then
So yeah, like we
made
said,
it.
it's over 5 feet tall, and the wall thickness was what 3 or 4 feet. Like when I had
That
to
was
get up there,
wild.
I had to roll across.
They have to be watertight.
You know,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
what did you see when you got inside?
I didn't notice. Did I notice it right away? I don't remember.
No, Scott and I showed you our video of it because it was
Oh,
so
you
high
had
and
taken
the
a
ceiling
picture
was so
of-
low
Yeah.
you couldn't really. So we leaned over and
Yeah.
like took a
Yeah.
picture and
Yeah.
recorded it.
So when we got in there, I was like hearing. Keep in mind, it's like several inches thick of just that dusty dirt.
Silt. All
Yeah.
silt and dust.
And so I'm. Go ahead.
Also a little strange. A ghost hunting group had been in the week before us.
Very popular.
We could say it, I think. Nick Groff and Death Walker was there before.
Yeah.
like a week or two before,
Yeah,
right?
And I think it was the weekend.
I think that's what she said the
Yeah.
week before.
So when we took the video of the cistern, we saw that there was a chair sitting upright in there.
As if someone just put it up in there. Yeah.
We assumed that like, oh, they must have stuck somebody in here
Yeah.
like we were gonna do. But
Yeah.
once you got in, you saw
It
that
was
chair
it was
completely
Like
covered
a
in
literally
dust
a good
and, like,
quarter
sunk
inch
in.
thick of dust, which means nobody was sitting in there.
That chair had been in there a long time.
Yeah,
So
which
why?
is odd.
Who climbed in there and just like, oh, I'm
And
going to put a chair
out
out
and
here?
sat down if you're not.
Who knows?
Ghost
Let's
hunting.
years,
let's
there could be all
preface
kinds
this
of
too.
stories.
It was like a 5 foot by like 6 foot area. That's this far from the ceiling and this freaking thick on the walls. So it's not easy to get into.
Maybe that was the illegitimate child. You know, where he sat. You know.
Could be.
Could be.
Like Hunter said, like it's the clearance between the ceiling and the top of the wall was,
Yeah, it was-
like we were a little concerned we might
Yeah.
have like a Pooh Bear situation. We were like, go on.
You gotta push it.
Yeah.
Nico's face.
Yeah. So anyway, so as soon as we get in there, we start, like I said, there's several inches of silt on silt. What'd you say?
Silk.
Silt. Yeah. And I started hearing, I stepped down, I heard this crunch. Didn't see anything. Her face says it all.
Yeah.
The
And
smell.
this was after. We didn't smell right
Oh
away,
yeah,
right?
this was yeah.
So I hear this crunch and I didn't see anything. I just was like, oh, it's just dirt or whatever. So I'm trying to find a place to put my phone up once I'm in there to record our spirit box session and situation. And I'm like, what the f is this? And I'm looking around and then I look down with the light. It's literally like 15 dead rats. Just mummified skin and bone. That's it.
From different eras, because some were just
They were
Yeah.
different levels of
Bones.
decomposition.
We also want to mention that we didn't realize this till later on. I took a picture of it on Chrissy's phone just to show them out there. They were yellow, and
Some of
Lance
them were
had the
yellow.
idea that perhaps there was lye poured on them, which makes sense. But yeah,
Can't
during
hardly get in there. Sheer walls. The rats get trapped. They die. They
Yeah.
stick
Yeah.
up everybody in the house, so they throw some lime.
So yeah, I'll skip forward to the end. We'll go back to the spirit box session itself though. So at the end, we're sitting there and I'm like, I'm talking to these guys, so we're getting really good activity on it. And I hear this one more crunch. I'm like, did I just? Yep, stepped on another one, and then all of a sudden, we just got this putrid, oh my,
It
rough,
smelled like a skunk sprayed and died, like at the same time.
a rotted.
Yeah,
skunk.
rotted,
Not just
like,
like, oh hey,
zombie skunk.
gotcha.
I think it must have
was
been a fresher-ish one than
Well,
the
no,
other
that
ones
was
that
one of
were
the
just-
mummified ones. I think it was just encased in
It
gas
might
that
have had
hardened up
gas,
around
like,
it,
that had
and
built
it's
up,
just
but
been
it
sitting
was
there for
this
years.
putrid.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Booted.
So let's go.
Got a
Let's
lot of action in there.
yeah, let's go to the spirit box session itself. You're gonna have to help me because I don't remember what you guys asked.
I got booted.
Um,
Go ahead.
So we were on the spirit box.
Kick me
I
out.
was. It was Lance, Tana, Chrissy, Monkey, and Scott
Yeah.
outside the cistern asking me questions. For you guys that don't know, a spirit box session, you have a spirit box that cycles through AM and FM stations. You can select which one you want, different speeds, whatever. You gotta turn that down.
Yeah, I tried to.
That's your power button. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right, it's okay. And then the one person's either got a blindfold on, which in that case I didn't because I
It
I
was
don't like
pitch
having them
black.
on.
It
Yeah.
dark anyway.
And then soundproof headphones that has the sound of the spirit box going through it. Anyways, we're going down there. I didn't get anything, nothing.
It's called the Estes method.
Sure, I didn't know that.
Oh.
There, yeah, it works too. Didn't get anything for the first 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, I don't remember what you guys started asking. I started getting these answers. If you.
I had asked at one point in time did somebody hurt you? At one point in time you said knife or stab.
It was a blade first.
Blade.
Oh.
And then
Then later, sorry, because the blade thing. So I hear Blade was one of the first things that I heard, and I was like, okay, well, that's just odd. Later on, when we're leaving, I look down, and there's a old, like late 1800s saw blade right under my feet, which I just thought was weird. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
I had asked about, like, was somebody hurt? Was it like a man or a woman? You said something like a lady?
Yeah.
It was something like
Yeah,
a lady.
a
So,
lady, I remember
Yeah.
that.
and then we
Yeah.
had asked if it was Melinda, and I believe you had said yes.
Yeah.
At one point in time, you heard Junior when
Well,
you were
because
asking.
you were
We
asked,
asked-
do you know who
Yes.
killed you or
And
who did it?
You said Junior.
And at the time, I didn't know who Junior was or what it meant until we went back and you looked it up right there.
Yeah,
And-
because we were under the impression, because like you were going into this place, we read over the history and stuff like that, but kind of gets
They don't
confused.
mention it as Junior though.
In my head, I thought Melinda was Senior's wife,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then like we asked, you heard. I think at first Hunter heard. You asked. I do believe first off. Was anybody ever hurt here?
Yeah.
Or somebody die here? And he heard yes, and then Blade.
Yeah.
And that's
And
when I
then-
asked
I
if
did
was
hear a
somebody
knife though
stabbed
later on too,
or-
remember?
Yeah, knife.
Knife
yeah.
was after
Yeah.
the blade.
Yeah,
part.
you asked that, and it said yes.
Yeah.
So
And
pretty
then
much it said that Junior killed this lady.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Melinda.
Hunter can't hear anything they're saying.
No.
Killed.
We
direct
got to
response
preference
to
it.
the-
We
When
did
we-
ask. It said Melinda.
Melinda.
When they asked if it was Melinda that
Yeah.
was killed, we
You said
heard
yes.
yes. So yes, like
And
that
like
was saying.
Shane said, Hunter has no idea. He's
Right.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we asked who hurt you.
And then that's when
and
you
then
heard
you said
Junior.
Junior.
And then we had looked it up
Now,
after that.
We didn't get a location, right, of where it happened, or was it in the basement? We suspected that we kept
suspected
asking.
the cistern
yeah.
because you were in there at the
Yeah.
time.
And we didn't get anything else anywhere else
Yeah.
in the basement.
And or in the house of that relating to that situation.
Upstairs, we got radio signals coming through.
Yeah,
but
so
we
we
couldn't
couldn't-
pick up any radio in the basement. It was too much stone
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
The historical ladies were talking about they were under the impression, or they, from, I don't know, psychics or other history combined, but that Melinda was kept in the attic in one of the corners, away from the servants' quarters for some time too.
Yeah.
Whatever was going on, there was not a talking relationship between her and her husband. So there's a lot of things that make you believe that something happened, probably him, and then you guys come up with that stuff in the basement. It's pretty compelling.
It was. And like I said, none of us in the basement even knew Melinda was Junior's wife. At the time. So when it said Junior, we were like,
Yeah.
We-
like, who's that?
That's-
I knew it was the son's wife, but I didn't know they referenced him as Junior
as Junior. Yeah.
until we looked it up, and then you were like,
And they probably didn't even call him Junior, but that's specific.
Yeah.
He was James, Van Horn.
Yeah.
Jr.
exactly, yeah.
That lets you know specifically
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
one
and
it was.
Maybe even the wife or close friend would probably just call him
They
Junior.
could have just
Yeah.
called-
Family
or when he
members.
was younger.
Or his
we-
father,
yeah.
Junior. Hey, come here, Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
This
common
house-
back then too.
It had a lot of history. I mean, you literally, it was built in 1823.
Yeah.
So it had 200 years of history.
Which
They also had a tunnel in the basement that went all the way to the river, which was less than
but
an eighth of a mile away.
blocked off now, right? Because
Now
like flooding
they're
or whatever.
thinking
flooded,
that it
yeah.
probably may have caved in as well because it was encased with wood.
You said they thought it was
Yeah,
part of the
all
Underground
wood,
Railroad
wood
too,
and
or
rock,
they
and they went
suspected.
and
Yeah, it
switched
could
at
have
the
been.
same
Yeah.
time. I guess the river had risen at one time and flooded part of the thing.
Mhm.
So we couldn't go in it, which really sucks.
Really
Yeah.
did.
We
yeah.
love going into tunnel things.
Yeah.
But Mom had a conversation with the K2 meter. Somebody gave her DG. She couldn't figure it out at the time, but
like the letters DG.
you got to figure there was 100 and
He
Yeah.
said his first
130
name
years
started
since
with
people
a
lived in
D.
that house that weren't Van Horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said his last name started with the G. He was 74. He lived there. He wanders around there. And, he likes living there, but I neglected to ask him if he lived there after the Van Horns or before.
Well,
It
it
had
could
to
be
be
before.
after
They built
because
that.
they
They
built
built
it.
that.
Yeah.
I watched one of her videos with her, and it seemed almost like he was a little aggravated that everybody's always talking about the Van Horns.
Yeah.
You know, we forget there was another 130
Yeah,
years
you gotta think
without
because
them
they
being in
make
the house.
they make the Van Horns popular.
And
just
who
by-
knows all the creepy, crazy things that's happened in that place, or how
Since
many
then.
people just died.
Or even
And
before.
keep in mind, in those
Yeah.
days, there was no mention ever in the historical documents that there was a funeral for Melinda.
No.
But there were other Van Horns that died over those years, and other people, and they would have the services and the wake right there in the house. The house originally came with 800 acres of property too. Who knows what else happened there? Also, prime native land at that time. You know?
Oh yeah, it's right on.
So
Like from the mansion, you can look across the water and you can see Canada.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
yeah, and so you got Van Horns, you got generations of other people, you got possibly slaves, native peoples, you got all kinds of things. She was had this long conversation outside with somebody who called himself the caretaker,
Yeah.
you know, and getting direct responses and answers.
You got to think they had what 800 acres.
Yeah.
You know, there was a
And
lot
a
of
lot
land
of
of different
employees.
things that could have
Right.
happened on
Mhm.
that land. You know, so
Really?
yeah, we got
Yeah.
a lot. in that
anybody else
location.
get any Melinda-centric stuff?
Well, go back to the caretaker. He said that Melinda was killed by Junior.
Yeah, that's another
The
thing.
caretaker said that.
She asked
Oh, I
specifically.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
he
was fun.
did.
So we got.
We went out for a
homicide.
smoke and a little drink of coffee, and she had brought the K2 meter out and set it on the end of the van bumper, and she mentioned something, and it started, and then we're like, oh, so she starts asking questions, and led us over, went over to Melinda's
Yes.
actual grave marker.
Yes.
It said that she was beautiful. It said
Yes, he
he
did.
really liked her.
And he said Junior killed her.
Yeah, and there was other secrets. Of course,
Oh,
every
he
family
said
has-
there were a lot of
Like
secrets.
like I said, just with Junior, his first wife died. There's no mention of anything with her.
No.
I don't even think I saw her name written
I
down
don't
in the
think so
history
either.
stuff. It's just,
No.
oh, his first wife died
Yeah.
at 22.
Yeah.
And Melinda,
And
he
then he
married
marries
at 20,
20-year-old
and
Melinda.
she died at 21.
Just a few
And she
weeks
died by
later.
the time she was 21.
Just a few weeks
Few-
later.
Well, we don't even know if it was weeks.
Yeah.
It was immediately later after,
Yeah,
I
that's what-
think it
yeah.
said. And then she dies, but he has a child with another woman almost at the same time of her death.
Yeah, it's odd.
You know,
Right.
like there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of
and-
family stuff
The
going
child's
on.
on his birth certificate, but not as his last name. He left that child a bastard.
Yeah.
You know, that says a lot too about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
thinking, well, I killed this one. I'm not giving my money to this kid. I mean, it's like
And that was
weird.
something else Monkey had pointed out, which is not terribly uncommon, but it was a big, wealthy, affluent family. But none of the Van Horns passed the mansion on to their children. They
Oh, they
sold it
purchased
to
it,
them.
yeah.
The junior did sell it, but you
So did-
kind of understand that.
so
Remember,
did
he was the
Senior.
oldest of the second wife.
Yeah.
Maybe, the dad didn't want to. I already gave this kid my name. Junior did take over a large part of his businesses, but some of the other older kids did too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how much do you gotta
the
like?
one older kid actually became a senator, I think.
How much do you have to dislike your family where like, or your kids where you won't even just pass down their family home?
Well, when you have 9 children, it's kind of hard to leave
Yeah, but
one
they didn't
house.
all have 9 children.
No.
But
Like
what
Junior,
he did,
How many
Junior
did
sold
Junior
that.
he sold
Junior
let
had
the
3.
son buy the one place, and what he did is they all worked different divisions of his businesses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if they earned their way. I can kind of respect that.
Maybe, but Junior only had the 3 kids. Right?
Junior, yeah, 3 kids.
3 kids, but one he didn't count.
Yeah,
You know,
one
we
he didn't
know
give
from-
any
and maybe-
legal.
So,
correct-
but
maybe
he
2.
also, one of them had to buy it from him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that
Which
part.
just Monkey had mentioned, like he was like, that seems a little like
Fishy.
impersonal,
Yeah.
you know.
It's odd.
But you know what? They all are wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Lisa, do you have anything going on? Anything crazy that you can? Didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's just we were all talking around you.
Yeah, I always do. Just leave me sitting in the corner all by myself.
nobody puts Lisa in a corner.
No.
You did. You made me stand in this corner.
What she was not.
She was not.
No, when we were doing the walkthrough with the daughter,
Yeah.
we can't,
Was it
whatever.
Brandy or something. I can't remember.
I think it was Brandy or Bobby.
For those watching, feel free to ask questions.
Well, when we were doing the walkthrough and she was giving us the history of the house, there's one room that we were all in. You guys had exited, and I stayed back, and I think Monkey and Tana were behind me. And it was where all they called it the playroom with like
Yeah,
the toys
the
and
The
the
dolls
stuff.
and
And I was just
miniature
getting
mansion.
I was just getting ready to leave that room to follow you guys into the next room, and something like touched my ear, and so I was just like looking around, and I whispered into the live that I was just like, somebody just touched my ear, and then right after it was like this, doing like this.
Petted her.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, okay, thanks, but I'm going in the other room now.
The storage in that room too is people have seen many times children in that room and running through the
Yeah,
room.
but the kids
So
not
maybe
gonna
one of the
reach
kids
Lisa's
just-
It's not gonna
hand.
be able. Yeah, the kids aren't
No.
gonna be able to.
Were you were standing at
That
the
was
time?
the
Yeah,
were
we
walking.
walking. We were walking through it, doing the walk.
Oh.
through.
Maybe it was a nanny.
And you had one
Could have
more,
been a nanny.
Melinda,
oh,
right?
this was just
I mean, it
like
could have been one of the older kids.
when we were in Melinda's room, the one that was her bedroom, the little ball. When Tana and we were in like the other room, setting up something, and like the ball was going off.
The
on
spirit
its
ball?
own.
Spirit ball.
The spirit
Yeah,
ball.
and that happened with me earlier too. Tana came running down the steps, and she had this look like, concern on her face. And I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I was just up there adjusting the camera and the lighting, and something really heavy pounded on the floor behind me." So we go running up there, So we're looking around. We have Lisa's creepy, what's that music box called?
Paranormal music box.
Paranormal music box.
Which has a motion
Motion
sensor on it.
thing
It
on
sends
that
out
plays this creepy
ultrasonic.
music. The cat ball started going
Yeah,
off.
I think I was up there. with
Yeah,
you.
you guys got the end of it. A lot of stuff happened before the rest of the people came in the room. Just me and Tanner were in there. And then that creepy music box started going off. Well, I should say, we stepped out of the room because she was telling me what she was doing. And we came in, and all that started going off when we were out of the room, about 8 feet out of the room. So we came back in, and it was still doing it. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't know about the Lisa being touched thing until actually after the fact. Otherwise, we would have kind of engaged that too. It could have been that DJ that Grandma was, he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
The spirit
Could have
box
been
also.
Junior looking for another wife.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
The spirit box also went
You
off
wanna
in
see
like the
my
front
knife?
foyer area at
Yeah.
one point in time. I know. I think you were there when the spirit
music-
box.
the
No,
music
the
box.
music box
Yeah,
was
it
going
went
off
off several
Yes,
times.
in
it
the
kept
main
going off
main area.
in the parlor.
The
Yeah.
parlor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Parlor.
And it takes
In
somebody
the parlor.
to get real close to the music box for it to go off.
Yeah, within 4 to 5 feet, maybe with 6, depending on what
It's
lighting
about like
or whatever else.
this big with a little sensor on the
Yeah.
one end,
What
and if
sensor?
something
Sensor?
passes,
What?
yeah, the one sensor. Anyways, it causes
Stay tuned
Thanks
to
for that.
Spear Hunters After Dark
After
to get the
dark.
real behind the scenes.
Yes.
But no, yeah, it's like shaped like a little coffin thing. It's got like the little reel you can
It's
reel
kinda
yourself.
cool.
It's really
It
cool.
sets
Yeah,
the
it
tone.
sounds like one of the creepy haunted.
Yeah,
like-
but that's all just extra. It's a motion sensor.
Yeah, pretty much. It makes
plays
noise.
a sound so you know when something moves.
It's
around.
actually, it's not just motion. It senses something else too about your energy, what coming off of you. I forget
Well,
what
because
it's
it
called.
uses ultrasound waves.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. That's why it costs $500. Because it's not just motion movement.
And it did work.
It worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda
Yeah,
like the
I
bats
heard it.
when they do echo.
Yeah, like a
I
radar
heard it
kind of
going
thing.
off 2 times, and that's when I went in the room
Yep.
and talked to DG.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lisa and I and Monkey and Tanner were up in the attic too. It's still kind of like in the preset of things.
Yeah.
And we were looking around, and we all started going down the stairs. And Monkey's behind me. He goes, "Hey, the envoy's going off." So we go running up there, and sure enough, that thing was going off like crazy. It was showing. You want to explain real quick what the envoy does?
The Envoy, it's called an Envoy Ghost Box, and it's got 4 different channel settings. I guess you can go. One is like it'll cycle through letters of the alphabet. You can change the sensitivity, so speed. You
No,
want
there's a
Oh,
different one then.
that's not the right one. What's the one that
The laser
shows
grid.
the
The new
laser?
Yeah, the new
When
laser
something's
grid.
walking.
I don't. I just called it the laser.
It's a laser grid that has a a display screen on it,
Yeah.
and it will block out what if the lasers are picking up a distortion.
I call it a
Right, so if
tracker,
something walks
yeah.
by, it shows it, and if it gets close enough, there's a center screen that actually shows like more dimension.
Yeah,
like
it's
you
like
can see a hand coming close.
Yeah,
Or,
it's like a red squared off laser grid, and it's got all these different, motion detection sensors in there. And when on the screen, it's just like a little 1 inch by 1 inch screen. If you say for example, I'll put my hand like this in front of it, it'll map out my hand in big bright LED red lights.
right. And above that screen is another arc sensor that detects anything that goes into that 15-foot range.
And it'll follow you and track with you. And we also found out that it can actually map out more than one thing. Like or Scott and I both walked in front of it, and it tracked us both perfectly.
How it would work is it's measuring distance.
Something you can't see.
Like
distance
a laser ruler,
Yeah,
and then
and
it
direction.
immediately inputs that when the
Into a state,
distance is
yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
And anyway, as we were leaving, it starts going off. So we run back up there. We're looking at it. And it's going off. We have it on camera for quite, at least 10, 15 minutes. Showing that there's something moving in this area, by the way, where they also thought Melinda was kept.
Real quick, just for that, on our Facebook page, Lisa actually has a live video of this box that we're talking about.
Right.
So if you really are that curious about what it is, you can go ahead and check that out. It's from the 18th, I think it was, right?
Yeah, 18th, I believe.
February 18th was the investigation.
And there's going to be two other camera angles of this too. Eventually, when we get the regular show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So anyway, this was going off. We're talking to it. And by the way, other people claim that they see Melinda in that corner of the game room often. That she was shy and but there's also these other creepy dollhouses in there too. And sometimes she would come out. So that's why we put that direction. Over here is this, what kind of table? I forget what you call those. Immaculate wooden tables, really old.
Those really narrow
with
ones.
almost like two thrones on either end of it. We had a REM pod and a spirit ball on that. So when we were talking to this, then the spirit ball started going off on the table too. We're all sitting still, and we had a pretty good conversation there for a little bit, but it seemed like it was just too shy.
Yeah.
I went to get closer to the box because you could see where she was standing, but when I did that, it disappeared out of the zone.
Yeah.
After I got back far enough away, it did come back into the zone. So, kind of.
Ronnie says hi, guys.
Hi, Ronnie.
Do we want to talk about when we went from Melinda's room, because we didn't get anything in there, and me, you, Scott, and Monkey first went to...
Yeah, a little before that though, Chrissy saw something on the stairs.
Oh, the attic stairs.
yeah.
I was going through, I think I was by myself, and I saw it was like a shadow person on the steps, like kind of like
Oh, I
moving
remember you telling us.
up the steps. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
Well, and it's weird because like I saw her, like I was in that, it's not the room that we were just talking about, where the door part. I was in that room in the doorway coming out, and I see Chrissy look back at the stairs like this, and kind of look around, which means something. I know you saw something.
Yeah.
And I was like I just kept going because I had to do something really
The
quick.
center of this house was open all the way up to the second floor, and there's a walkway around the second floor, so you can see down, you can see right straight up.
Yeah, it was
through
like a 30 by 30 room in the middle of the house.
Yeah.
On that corner, close to where Chrissy saw this, there was supposedly people that saw this apparition of a woman with her dress kind of going in between the railings there at that corner. So another thing.
and
Yeah.
this wasn't just
Well,
like
this
a
wasn't-
shadow.
It was like
it was going
stairs.
up the
Yeah.
stairs, but it's
Yeah.
like different than a regular shadow. They're like darker. I know
Yeah.
you guys have seen like shadow people, but it's like darker
dark.
than a regular shadow. It
Solid.
blocks out
Yeah.
more
Also,
light.
so I don't know if it was later or before then. Monkey saw a shadow person, like when he's coming up, and it just kind of caught, and he looked at it and saw it pretty clear.
Which,
like,
keep in mind, was almost the same area where Chrissy saw
yeah,
hers.
except it wasn't going up the attic
It was
stairs;
just-
it went into the rooms. And like Mom got, there have been reports over the years of people saying that something, like just walks comes, walks through those.
Like
Rooms.
all those
She
rooms
got-
are connected
yeah,
outside of the main foyer room. Remember
DG
that for later.
Saying that he likes to walk around.
Oh.
He did.
Yeah, you know what? That could be another tie-in to maybe the library, which she said that there multiple people have seen this man standing in that doorway.
Well, right that where I got that camera smack when we were doing the walkthrough. Like something went,
Also, the same room where you guys did the other thing later.
Yeah.
But let's have these
Remember
guys.
that walkthrough thing though.
The main living room and
Foyer, parlor.
it's not really a foyer. You know, where the fireplaces were. You guys were doing. Tana was doing a spirit
Sensory.
sensory deprivation thing. Chrissy had some kind of meter. I had a Mel meter. Later, Scott had a Mel meter combination with a REM pod. Lisa was doing rods,
I was
and
doing
Bob
live.
also had a K2 meter. Huh?
I was doing live. I was on live.
Oh, you were doing live. Tanner was getting all kinds of answers, and these guys were questioning, and we started all getting readings, electromagnetic readings, that we could confirm together. Chrissy was getting it, I'm showing it, then Scott's showing it, Grandma's showing it, and on 4 different meters, and 3 of different types.
So
that was
someone
really cool.
asked Tana, "Are you here?" Of course, and it said yes. And where? And it said fireplace. And who was it that went to the fireplace? Lisa went to the fireplace, and it said turn around, because there was a fireplace on the other side of the room.
But I
Large
didn't
room,
even think of
fireplace
that.
in the
I
end.
just like turned directions.
Yeah.
And I was like, where? I don't
So,
see you.
yeah,
He was on the other side of the room, and I asked, "Are you on the other side of the room by that fireplace?" And it's spiked up.
That's
So
actually.
he was over there.
Speaking of Ronnie, when we were doing the little mini walk through that we usually go, that's the fireplace that she pointed out, and she said,
Yeah,
I
she
think
just
some guy-
asked.
I think some
She
guy
does
hangs
that in
around
almost
there."
every investigation. She
pointed
points
that
out some
out.
kind of significant
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, she just said, did you guys pick up anything by the fireplace
Yeah.
and
That's the
piano
one
area?
that, yeah, she
Like,
had
that's
asked
the
about
same
that
place.
before
This
we
is where all
started
this was
the
happening, right?
investigation.
And that's where the music box was. It kept going.
And it was it lasted a long time. It was so long that I ended up going outside because you guys were they were really getting all this interaction there.
She says,
She
I told
said,
you.
"See, I told you." She saw
We
something
believe you, Ronnie.
on the fireplace. By
What
the
did she see
fireplace.
exactly?
I don't
She
know.
just gets.
She just gets
Feelings.
feelings like, oh, I think somebody really likes to be in this area, and every
So
time
she's
she does
like a
that,
sensitive.
every
Yeah.
time she
Like,
does that, like we get.
She
activity
also,
in those
like at the
areas.
stone house where all the knocks were coming from, that's when she was, Chrissy will, for, if, people other than Ronnie watching, live stream with Ronnie as we're going through, and I think the stone house where we got all the knocks and stuff is, on the walkthrough, Ronnie was like, oh, I think you guys will get something here.
So she it's a
Well,
sensitive.
she has seen
you feel like
things
there's something
on
going on.
our
She's
camera.
not necessarily like an empath.
She's
but-
done that several times on several different investigations.
Yes,
From
she sees
California,
things
by the
that
way.
we
Yeah,
didn't
she's
see.
in California. We're in
Yeah.
New York. So
And Ronnie is one of our super members. Her and
our
the
super
dad-
fans.
super fans.
I think that's actually
Remote,
a badge on
um,
Facebook. It's
yeah,
called the
it
super
is.
fan.
But what is that, like a remote member?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
There's a term, I can't think of it.
She's a video
Satellite.
member.
Satellite, yeah, satellite member.
We'd be taking her with us probably.
So yeah, back to
Wow, I wanted them to tell a little bit more about that room. They were getting all kinds of stuff
go
going
for
on.
it. Yeah.
You guys remember it? I
I
don't.
told you most of what I got. That his first name started with D and his last name
Yeah.
started
Oh,
with
that
D.
happened at the same time?
In the same room.
I mean,
And he was
she-
74, and he liked to walk around the house, and he lives there.
yeah,
That
Mom
makes
was saying
sense,
so
but
much
it-
activity, she spent almost the whole investigation.
Yeah,
on
it
there.
did
Mom's
want her
like
to
a
leave.
magnet, especially with that K2 meter. Things really
Yeah.
like to talk to her.
Well, there was one time that all the girls were going to go to another room, and I was going to go with them. And I said, "Do you want me to stay in here?" And it went way up, and it just kept flickering at the top of the numbers. So I'm like, well, so I spent 51 minutes in that room.
Oh,
And
yeah,
keep in
not
mind,
more, right?
we only had an extended time certain time frame at this investigation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 51 minutes was a long time for that
Yeah, we only had
investigation.
6 hours,
Almost
and
half
even
time.
that was kind of cut short.
Yeah, by the time we actually got everything set up and started the investigation, we only had like 3.5 hours
Yeah.
left.
And I wanted to note too that was the room. Lisa was perky, She went to that room and something kind of changed her whole demeanor.
Yeah.
She said, and she didn't tell us about it until we were driving home again, so we couldn't,
Yeah.
address it at the time.
She was in like one of
But you
those
wouldn't even really
annoyed
think about
moods
it.
without actually being super annoyed.
Well, there was a spirit in there that was annoyed
I'm
because
just a little annoyed.
when Tana was on the spirit box,
Tammy?
Tammy? Yeah, Tammy!
and the men walked in, she said very people. She said it just like that. It didn't want the other people
Oh,
in there.
it kept getting frustrated because they were
Yes.
so. Tana kept hearing. I don't think it was just in there. I think it might have been somewhere else in the house.
Yeah,
too,
'cause
but she kept
originally-
hearing people because when there was just too many people.
Yeah,
there
because
almost.
originally it
Yeah.
was just you and Tana in that room,
Right.
and then I came in,
and then
and then you came in
and then-
shortly after, and then
Yeah.
they all just
Then
kind of
all the
started
guys
I remember
fighting.
that. There was,
coming
like,
in and
everybody
they
was
just
in
yelled
And then she just
people.
kept hearing like people.
Yeah.
Like,
So they
It
was
was
getting
too many.
frustrated.
Yeah.
And maybe
people.
Lisa, a little bit of, she took that feeling,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to do it later, but we did actually have a question about, like, can spiritual entities, like, affect people's, like, mood and
Oh
Health.
yeah.
yeah.
health? Yeah.
Absolutely. I haven't really had that issue yet.
I mean, not on an investigation, but I think we've all experienced being in places in years past.
absolutely. Yeah, oh yeah.
A negative entity will definitely can affect people's and can lead to more arguments,
Yep.
more moodiness, snapping at your kids, like all kinds of, because you're just, I don't even think consciously, but
Oh,
feeling this.
Just like other people, you pick up on their
Mhm.
energy. That's other, paranormal energy is still.
What are you
energy.
saying? Why
And
are you
some-
pointing at me, Chrissy?
And sometimes when you're doing these investigations, you might say something that you didn't necessarily mean to invite something in to you, but
Yeah.
sometimes we make that mistake.
Yeah.
Well, you show me, it could be something as simple as that. Show me how you feel. You're inviting
Yeah,
me.
and that could
You
be.
gotta be careful sometimes how you word things. And
Mhm.
maybe Lisa asked the that
Or
question.
she just, like I said, like this
No,
thing
she
is
was just
frustrating and she's
sensitive
just
to-
picking up
She
on
was
that-
sensitive. Whatever it
that was-
was, kind of,
like
Yeah, sometimes the
we
energy is
do
just gross.
with a person.
Yeah.
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 right. Well, she said to me, Hunter and I on the way home, she felt annoyed.
Yeah.
And,
Right. Well,
but it
this
wasn't
one
now.
was annoyed.
It makes sense that that's what you guys were getting.
Right.
It was more of like just like a calm, like, don't talk to me, no, not like I'm going to snap back type of
Yeah,
annoyed.
just-
it was just
just
like,
general-
Yeah.
Now,
what's wrong with you? Nothing.
was
Too many people in here leave me alone, and now I get it. That kind of-
Yeah.
that
Yeah, he
kind of-
was very adamant about
He-
the first people, and I told the guys he doesn't want you in
yeah,
here.
do you
so
guys
they left.
recall? Was it a male or
Yeah.
female? she
It was a
picking
male.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
up? I don't like people either.
No.
Where was I during all this? Like, it's
I
just
wasn't
like
there.
everybody,
Where were you?
You were
everybody's
with the
in the.
group that
I
was
wasn't
coming
there.
in.
It was me,
and I
you,
told
Monkey,
you
and
to go
Scott.
out.
We were in that room
I don't
upstairs.
think I was.
Lance just
No.
got possessed and was off somewhere doing.
No, it was me, Lance, and Monkey,
Yeah.
and Scott when we
We
first
find
went in that
Lance
room.
sitting in his sister in
He's
the
just
dark
like
basement.
rocking back
Because
and
remember
forth.
that was towards the end
On
of
the chair.
That was
Sniffing
towards
the
the end of the
rats.
investigation.
Okay.
Starting
Okay.
to rock back and forth.
Holding the
Chewing
rat.
on it. Yeah.
So Ronnie,
Yeah, he's all hyped up on his feet.
Okay. What?
so Ronnie says sometimes you don't fully realize the mood changes till you are out of the space.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's
exactly
true.
right. Yep.
True too.
Yeah.
And like going back, just like, I mean, the same as with people. Like, you ever, I'm sure you guys have, where like you're coming to visit somebody and they just had an argument.
Oh,
And
yeah,
even
you
though
can
you
feel
don't
it.
hear it, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
walk in,
Yeah,
and
they're
you're
all
just
just
like,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of the same. Like
Yeah,
you're just picking
except
up
you
on-
don't see
Yeah.
what's going on around.
And about physically picking up something, there was an investigation that you and Christy went to that you both got sick.
It was the.
Yeah, we talked about that, Genesee Falls.
Genesee
Yeah.
Falls. But I also got
Stonehouse.
at the
Stonehouse.
kidney,
Stonehouse
like
was
the really
pain
bad
stuff.
side
Yeah.
pain where I could barely
I
stand
think
up.
all of us
I was-
got bad headaches,
Yeah.
back
Yes,
spasms.
we've
that
had
kind
Remember
of
at the
thing.
Dudley though, I got legit scratch where it broke
Oh,
the
yeah.
skin on my back.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
on.
So yeah,
That's actually on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you want to check that out, scroll down to one of our earlier
But-
videos.
yeah, I think Hunter's right. I think when you guys were getting that is when we first went into that
From Melinda's to the library
the library
Yeah.
room, and it was me, you, Monkey, Scott
at first. Yep.
initially.
So yeah, we were going in there. I'll just tell what we had. We had one of our cell phone videos recording in there previously. We also had a REM pod and a cat ball right in view of the phone.
Mm-hmm. And the cell phone video it's good for the audio, but not good for the visual because I can't remember.
The door was right outside of frame. Though,
Well, no,
too.
something told us to turn off the light.
Oh, well, yeah, because we weren't getting much activity at first, right? And they were like, well, do you want the light off? And the REM pod or cat ball started going off like crazy.
Yeah, so we turned off the light, but the
'Cause
cell phone couldn't pick
The
up.
reason why we asked that is because, in our opinion, things tend to be more active when it's dark.
Something.
Which is why a lot of
Kinda,
people
yeah.
ghost hunt at night. Yeah, so we're in this room, and we end up bringing up the Envoy, which is that little box I was telling you guys about earlier. We'll cycle through alphabetical letters, or you can put it down numbers, yes or no answers,
Yeah.
and
It
emotions.
responds to a very light touch or vibration.
Touch,
Temperature
temperature,
change.
or EMF.
Right, so it has a few different ways. Kind of a cool instrument because it can control in different ways.
And at first we were a little skeptical because I didn't quite understand how to work it or anything. But
It was
once
a
I
new-
figured that
new
out
instrument.
throughout the rest of the investigation, we did start to get what could be answers on there. So, anyways, we're in
At
this
the
room.
times that you were asking specific
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, we're in this room. We're talking. We're just asking general questions related to the house or whatever might be there. Didn't get too much. We got a couple REM pod spikes, stuff like that. And then Chrissy and Tana came in from
Before that,
what?
Shane opened the door.
Oh,
Shane, Lisa, and Mom opened the door, and we all turned to talk to him except Scott. And then we hear bang, 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 bang.
well, Monkey came up to show them something outside,
Yeah.
right? And then right when Monkey
Well,
walked
he
past,
called. Yeah, he called to us saying
The
that you guys were
spirit
getting
ball
some stuff.
gets thrown off the table, and just lands on the floor and starts going off like crazy.
Yeah.
And you can see, well, you can't see it, but you can hear it in the
Yeah.
video. 'Cause
It's sitting in the middle of a table.
It hits.
if you look carefully
Off the
with the
table
brightness all the
multiple
way up, you'll probably be able to see the spirit ball. Because we can vaguely see it on our big TV,
Yeah.
but it's not super clear.
But yeah, the spirit ball's sitting on a good size. It's not like a coffee table. It's
And
like
at
a
this
good
point in the
size,
video-
solid table.
Yeah, I just want to mention, at this point in the video, it's been sitting there for like an hour and a half. You can see it's not just on a loose table,
Yeah.
nothing
Well,
like
it's
that.
actually sitting on the paper.
Yeah,
It's sitting on like
a notebook.
a notebook
Yeah.
kind of thing. And as we turn and look like we're leaving the room, Scotty's the only one in there, and you just hear Scotty say, "Holy crap!" Like, because he's
You
looking
can
at
hear
it,
it.
But us in the hall, we all could hear it hit
Yeah,
the floor
yeah,
and bounce
something-
off of something.
and it doesn't just roll off the table.
No, something flings it.
hits
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they
it-
saw him just went.
It
you know.
landed a few feet off of the table.
Yeah.
Like it hit the
It would have
bookshelf.
kept going if it didn't
Yeah,
hit the
it
bookshelf. Right.
hit the
yeah.
floor, bounced off the bookshelf, and came
Yeah.
back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's right shortly after you came by. We were like, guys, come in here. Like, we just had something like throw a ball
Yeah.
across the
I
table.
know, and then I came in and I closed the door behind me and I turned this way. There was a door here, there was the door that came in from the hallway, and then everybody was sitting around.
Mhm.
The
here.
door that
Table
connects
was
the
in
two
middle.
rooms together,
Yeah.
too.
All of a sudden I look at that door and it just starts to, you hear it,
hear it unlatch.
Unlatch.
and you see it open, and I'm like,
Keep in mind, there's
Okay.
6 of us in here at this time.
and at first I
Everybody
thought,
heard it at the exact
Yeah.
same time and are looking at it as it's happening.
at first I thought maybe it was the pressure from me coming in the room or so. I was just, trying to,
Well-
count whatever out. But then after I was standing there for a while, like I sat down and I'm still looking at this door, and you hear it unlatch again and open again while we're all sitting there.
Yeah.
Well, the first time, remember, because it opened halfway and
That's what I was
stopped.
gonna
Yeah,
say.
I made
And then
sure.
as we look at it, it continues to open
Yeah.
up the rest
Yeah,
of the way.
we
Yeah.
hear it unlatch and it opens and then it stops halfway for like a second or
Until
two.
we
Yeah,
all
and
are
then it
staring
just-
at it.
And then it opened the rest of the
Yeah.
way.
And then
like,
I made sure, like
Yeah.
I remember I pulled it, shut it, and then pushed on it to make sure,
it was
was
latched.
closed, and then it unlatched again and opened.
All the way.
Yeah.
yeah, just
And-
and you hear it like
Yeah.
Just for sakes, too, I went up to it kind of like picked up the door to see if it had any kind of weird like motion, the hinges were loose or whatever, and did what she did. It latches solidly. It actually, it was actually a satisfying latch. It's one of those ones that closes just gently, and it's like the perfect latch.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, it's a nice one.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
wasn't-
but the fact that it unlatches, not itself, but it unlatched itself twice. You know.
Yeah, you girls came in, like I said, it opened the door, you hear it like loud, like you hear the
Okay.
tongue move.
Yeah.
And it-
Opened up a little bit, like you would, like somebody, like you look in,
Yeah,
like,
poke it in a little
like
bit,
who's in here, and then opened up fully
and then
Yeah.
come in.
and came in.
Yeah.
And we closed the door, and then we got all kinds of
After the
activity
first
in
time.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it opens, comes in the room, starts interacting with you guys for some time.
Yeah,
Oh,
good
yeah, and
30,
then it
45
opens
minutes,
the
yeah.
door, it leaves,
left.
and then we don't get as much activity
Yeah.
after the door opened.
Yeah.
That
So
second
we
Right.
time.
think
Yeah,
it
it's
came
no
from that other connecting room, gave us our, attention, whatever we wanted. Opened the door again, left, went back to that other room.
Yeah. Well,
So-
while it was in there, we were getting answers on that little box thingy.
Envoy.
We were getting rim pod spikes a lot.
I think the cat ball went off just
Cat
once.
ball
We were getting stuff on the
K2.
yeah,
Yep.
going up. Yeah, like just
everything.
everything.
Feel like
And one or two
validates some of the
bangs, too.
stories about this guy walking through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them seeing shadows, monkeys seeing shadows,
Yep.
and what the woman said that multiple people have
Yeah.
seen something going in and out
And,
that light.
oh, that one, by the way, when it came in, remember, like, it, I forget how we got to it, but it asked for the light to be turned back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that was something else, though.
No, I think it's the guy who came in.
Right.
One
I mean,
of
the
the
one that
lights
does
on.
a walk around?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because there was two. The one that came from the other room, and then the guy that does a walk around. I think the one that came from the other room, well, maybe he, see, I don't know.
I suspect that's the same person.
Yeah, I think that's,
You think so?
whatever was in there.
Why would he
initially-
go back out the same door? Because if he's got the residual where
Wherever
he
he
stays
was hanging
walking
out,
around.
maybe he
He's
was
not
going back to
residual.
the rear staircase
He's
in the other room,
intelligent.
going through the sewing
Yeah,
room,
'cause he was
the
interacting.
rear
Because he was
staircase,
interacting.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
or going to that creepy closet between the two rooms.
Yeah, but like the original one that was in there with
The
us wanted
closet
the
was
light,
pretty creepy.
wanted the light off
Yeah.
and was not very responsive.
I think at
This
first it was
thing-
just nervous that we might be
Comes-
able to see him with the light on, maybe.
Right,
And
and
then
then I think
realized-
it's a totally different entity. This one comes in, wants the light on, talks to us for 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and then he's
right.
like, all
The
right,
other
See ya.
one's a little,
Yeah.
and the other guy's like,
Right.
I'll do this with you.
So Ronnie says, you ever think some of them interact more with you, so they'll leave you alone faster?
Yeah. Actually, we were talking about that in this room. We were literally asking, well, look, if you we'll leave you, just say something to us real quick, and then, something would happen,
I think you were using the envoy as a way to respond.
We were putting on the yes or no's, and it was weird because we were getting pretty obvious answers to what we were asking.
Right, and on that one, something was touching it. You could,
Yeah, and it'll tell you.
it reacts when something touches it.
Yeah, it'll say tap on the screen if something touched it. It'll say mag for like EMF or magnetic, and then temp for the temperature. It'll say plus or minus beside it if it spiked it up. or
Which is
lowered.
really a cool way of
Yeah.
showing specifically how the instrument was
Exactly.
used
Yeah.
by the.
I also want to mention it does emotions too, which we haven't used because
it doesn't pick up on them. It cycles through faces.
And it can tell you-
something can
If it's
stop
saying
it.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling sad, it gives you a sad face.
If it, yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't actually tell what the emotions are.
yeah, you can change the sensitivity of all those.
Yeah.
So
It's a cool instrument.
It really is.
We got to use it. I can't wait to use it more in the future.
Mhm.
Hi, nice Brenda and Monkey.
Hey,
hello,
um,
monkey. Too
So
bad
you
you
guys
can't be
Feel
here.
free to say hello to people.
have anything else before
How
we
about
get
on
to some
TikTok?
questions?
Anybody say anything on
Who's-
TikTok?
Who we got?
We've got Astro right
Astro.
now.
Hey, Astro. Were they?
I
were
love
they one of the
Astro.
ones watching earlier?
I'm a Jetsons.
Yeah.
Rosalie.
Yeah.
So we got Jeep Girl.
Jeep Girl was watching, and
But
Astro.
no questions.
No questions. No.
Okay.
Lisa's got a number of people looks like they're on there, but
No, 6 people. I don't know who they are.
We can get to some of these questions in. So we got one about asking about unexpected things that you found on a ghost hunt.
We were talking about this earlier, like animals.
Oh yeah, the animal
Les
phenomenon.
and Christian
Animals.
were bringing this to our attention earlier.
Yeah.
Sock
Well,
bones.
we were
you
talking
know.
about this on the way here today, and I was like, I don't know what? Like, I never thought we'd come in contact with so many animals doing this.
Animals alive,
Live,
dead, or
dead,
spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've
Cats.
had birds,
Birds,
dogs,
dogs.
cats.
Yeah, it was
Coyotes.
chickens, possum,
Deer.
Bigfoot,
Yeah.
or some kind of
Yeah.
But it's
monkey.
just they're
dead
always.
rats.
I don't think
Dead
there's
rats,
been one
yeah.
Live
investigation
rats.
that we haven't
Live
come
rats, yeah.
across some sort of.
But did
like,
There's
you
a lot
see
more.
a ghost dog? I mean,
I saw a ghost.
spirit dog?
I saw a spirit dog at
And
the.
he saw a
what was
spirit
it?
cat.
No. What's the name of the one?
With the fierce magnetic, like the electrical
Enchanted
power.
Valley Inn.
Yeah, the Enchanted Valley, and I saw it in our our area where we
Really?
set up our equipment. I saw it was when we first started. Like we were still setting stuff up, and the lights were on, and I saw it go through. Like here's the door, here's the counter, and I saw it going across like right in here.
Thanks for the
And
likes
then
on
later
TikTok.
on, you had seen like a black. you
Yeah,
thought
in the
it was like
formal
a
dining
cat.
room on the end chair was a long-haired, really pretty cat. And I'm like, how did I said something about the cat because I
Welcome,
didn't
Kenzie
know,
Bug.
I didn't even notice it had been in there. And apparently it wasn't
No,
in there.
no.
It was
And
just,
maybe I did see a cat. I saw something black walking
Yeah.
through.
and
but
it was cool. It was just curled up on a chair looking at me as I was walking by packing up stuff.
Welcome, Miss Piggy. Thanks for watching.
Ronnie pointed out the Bigfoot when we were talking about seeing animals.
We gotta,
That was
we gotta
creepy.
reshare that Bigfoot thing and make a poll with it because I want people to interact and really pinpoint and see what they think. Cause it sounds like it's definitely some sort of ape thing, and we're way too far off into the woods for it to be a person.
Yeah, and we need to get the other camera with the higher quality sound because after it does that whoop whoop crap,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, but you
for
only.
several seconds. I know it sounds.
It was weird,
but several seconds after.
it doesn't quite sound like that.
It sounded a little similar.
that kind of idea.
So we had the dead pigeon with its head broken off in
That
the
was at the
basement,
Dudley.
way deep in the
Yeah,
building,
no
like
windows.
in a hole.
In a
Yeah.
hole. We had a bird in the wall at one place.
Yeah, in
And
That
Landover
was- yeah.
Sanitarium,
Yep.
haunted house now.
Well, we don't know. Was it a bird? I thought it was like a raccoon.
Oh, it was a
I
bird,
said
and
the
I
bird
couldn't
is
get
There's
it
a
out.
skunk that went in the maze.
Yeah,
I felt bad.
Back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Monkey and them saw a deer, a skinwalker deer.
Walking backwards,
You
all
know.
weird.
A backward, creepy,
This
deformed
was
deer.
this was at the cemetery that we did an investigation at, and we had heard. Well, Shane heard over the spirit box about the skinwalker being there. We had been asking
Yeah.
questions, and
We
then
still
on
had
the
to
way
go
home,
to-
they saw this weird
Yeah, we're never
deer-like
doing
thing
that.
walking backwards. Like
Right.
it looked very
Um,
abnormal in the
In
field.
Genesee
possum.
Falls, Lisa heard like a little dog, and I did too. Going
Yeah.
across the floor.
Dog or a cat? That was
Well, this is Genesee Falls.
I think it was
Yeah.
a cat.
It could have been a cat. Oh, you
Yes.
mean the kid? Because the kid
Yeah.
was
Genesee
you-
Falls.
they're
Yeah, I was
tortured
saying.
there.
yeah.
Ronnie
I'll
says
find out.
skinwalking deer! Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Next, probably our next episode after this one. This week, Monday, the P80 podcast will go up. This one will go up.
Are we gonna do that live too?
We already did.
We already
No,
did
the
that.
hen coop.
No,
No.
I don't think so. And then that'll be Hen Coop 2.
Yes.
Yeah, we
So
should
keep
do
an
everything
eye
we
out for
can
that.
live as much as we
You'll hear.
Because it really does do
You'll
good
hear
for
a
our
couple other stories that
Yeah,
we've
but
already
we don't
discussed
have
in
it
earlier
saved.
podcasts.
Well, yeah,
Yeah. So if you hear anything that we've already spoke about before, it's because
that's fine.
we have to talk about this investigation. So
Also at Hen Coop, you guys saw on the first one a coyote.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
Oh, the two coyotes
We've
in
had,
the woods.
yeah, we had
we've
living
heard.
and dead rats.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, we saw that white and black snake when we were there a week ago. Not a week ago. The day visit we had.
Hen Coop?
Yeah, that little tiny white and black
It was
one.
Oh, I
small.
didn't see this.
Yeah, it was right on the
snake.
edge of the
Huh.
freaking thing.
I didn't see it.
That's interesting.
You
But
saw
you-
a
In the
snake.
snow.
in the snow.
Bill and I did. Yeah.
What snakes
Yes,
are out in the
that's
winter
not
that
possible.
are
It was a
white
tiny
and-
little white and black one, like
Really?
6 inches long.
That's
Maybe it
a-
wasn't a snake, then it was something similar to that, but it was this freaking big.
That's interesting because that's not possible.
That sounds
Well,
like some sort of
no, I
That's another
entity.
kind.
Bill and I were
They're-
looking.
they're
No,
reptiles.
Bill.
They can't.
Yeah,
they're
they-
It's
trained
not
to-
possible in the
Right.
natural world.
It's not possible for it to be actually a snake.
Well,
No.
then
Yes.
it wasn't a snake. I
Because-
mean, it was literally so right on the cemetery,
Cold-blooded, they
like
you
lined
wouldn't
up
even
along
be
it.
able to move.
Literally-
It was cold.
But it was
man.
only like
was
6
big.
inches too.
Yeah.
So maybe some kind of worm.
No.
No, when
Wait a
he saw a
minute,
snake,
was it
it was a
Beetlejuice or
supernatural.
what?
No, it was
Yeah,
like
like
segmented.
That's a
was right there.
supernatural.
It was
one.
segmented, and it was only like this big. It wasn't
That is
moving. though.
weird.
So
That's-
I don't know.
It wasn't.
It was
moving?
weird. No.
So maybe it was dead. Like,
I
did
mean,
somebody-
probably. It was. If it was.
Why did?
It
how
was
did not
snow.
No,
focus?
a snake
I
wouldn't be on
I don't like
top of the
snakes. I
snow.
hate
Wouldn't be on
one
Next
thing I
time you
don't
see a
like.
snake, let me
No.
know.
That's
It wouldn't be
interesting.
on top of the snow.
Yeah.
I wonder
A
what that
normal
means.
snake.
That's, see,
Yeah,
that's kind of a
that's-
thing. It's important to let us know
Yeah,
right away.
that's weird.
Well,
That's-
I don't think
manifestation.
that's not like a sign. I don't think
know
that.
it. I
It
think
could
it certainly
be.
could be because they don't come out anywhere
That
near
certainly
this
is-
time of year.
What would that
You know
mean?
what? I've heard something too
Let's
about.
let's
a
talk
black and
about
white
that.
snake.
Multiple
Let's
things.
talk about
Yeah,
that
let's talk
on
about
the
that
Hen
on
Coop
the-
too,
yeah.
because I also
I have some theories.
can relate that to
Well,
something
that
I've
actually
heard
didn't
about too.
happen at Hickcoop too. That was
No.
the.
At Hen Coop Cemetery.
Yeah.
It was
during
actually,
the walkthrough.
it wasn't during that
But
investigation.
we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a question or something, Grandma?
No.
Say so.
But Ronnie says, great, now all the animals around here are going to creep me out.
Well, let's say if you see a deer on its hind legs, possibly walking backwards,
Yeah.
run away.
Right.
Don't
Or-
acknowledge it.
Or if
Stay
you
tuned
see a
for the
snake
Hickcoop
on top
episode.
of the snow,
Oh, it was standing on its hind legs when it saw it?
No, no.
I was just
He
walking back.
I'm making a skinwalker.
Because I was going to say, oh,
Holy
Windigo?
yeah.
If it's on its hind
Yeah.
legs, it's
Windigo.
100%. Yeah, he's just like, you know. Like,
It ran right at him.
you know.
can you imagine if a deer's on his hind legs?
Making that noise too.
What was that? What's that? The creature on The Witcher. It's got like the deer head.
Oh,
I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
The forest
Yeah.
demon thing.
Yeah.
Which was ripped off from the Windigo.
Yeah. Well, actually, The Witcher is all old Polish mythology.
That's a joke.
It's their version of it, going back 1,000 years or whatever. But
welcome
Think about the
FL
Windigo
Joe Cool.
now. Used to be, the only reports of it was up in Canada. Sometimes it's the very far north of the country.
yeah.
Now they have these stories all the way to Mexico. And it's only like the last 20 years that it really happened. I was wondering why that, used to be they were always just
Like to
ignored.
see
it.
it.
I honestly, I think because the mythology got popularized, like they had a Wendigo episode of Supernatural. They had
Welcome, Bebop, Texas.
Wendigo
TX.
in X-Men comic books and cartoon. I
So
think
you
just
think
because
it's just
it got popularized and then like that's kind of in people's head. What?
I wanted to Google that snake. Whatever it was.
Yeah,
Now it's like,
not a
you
snake
guys
in
are
the
starting to make me
wintertime.
second guess if I actually saw it.
Oh, I think
No,
you saw it.
it,
Oh, you
but
saw
it wasn't a real
But it wasn't
snake.
a real It's snake.
What
you
snake
think
do you?
is.
It looked like it's. I didn't see the head necessarily because the whole body was like the same size, but it was segmented almost like literally white, black, and it was like literally like 6, maybe 7 inches long,
Like
You didn't take any
thick.
pictures?
like that, like quarter inch, half.
and I've
inch.
seen those
and you
snakes
and Ryan
before. When
both
I was
saw
a kid,
it?
I used to.
I pointed it out to him. I don't know. If
Yeah.
I,
Well,
No,
like I said,
I saw him look, but I don't know if he.
We'll talk about this more in our
Yeah.
Hen Coop one. Make a note though, remind us to talk about it.
Don't have my phone.
Hunter said he can't think of any, but like, do you guys have a favorite? This is a question. Book having to do
Yeah,
with ghosts.
Well,
No,
we
Well,
have
not
lots
me.
of books that I
Book-
like
favorite
about
book
ghosts.
about ghosties.
We do love Bill
Yes, Bill
Robertson's
Robertson's
books. Ghosts
books.
Revisited 1 through 4. 5 coming out
coming
soon.
out soon.
I
Got you,
bought
Bill.
all-
And
all
we're in
4
it,
of
so
them.
check
They're
it out.
excellent.
Yeah, we'll be at 6.
Oh,
Yes.
we're in 6, so get 5 and 6
Yeah.
and check them
Right,
out.
6 is done. It's just going
Yep.
through its
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
editing right now.
Yeah.
Books about ghosts. I don't know. I've not read much nonfiction
Shining?
about ghosts, but yeah, I was gonna say.
And the Dr.
what's
Sleep.
that? Like the Stephen King one, not The Shining or that, but it's kind of a little more romantic-y-ish about a guy whose wife had died. He goes off to a bag of bones.
Oh,
And a lot of ghosts. I really liked because it wasn't like over-the-top ghosts like The Shining.
Right.
It was
Welcome, Jess.
his wife coming to him in dreams or
M097.
moving stuff in the kitchen to try to tell him something, but
Right,
it was
just
not.
trying to get I remember.
It
that.
wasn't like Elevators of Blood. It was a little more realistic. Like, he wakes up in the morning and her favorite coffee cup is,
Right, because she loved him. She's not going to do these.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
trying not to scare him, but get
Yeah.
a point across.
Talking
Yeah.
about books.
Books
My
about
favorite.
ghosties.
Well, growing up, I used to always with my friend Aaron. We used to always read like haunted books. We'd just take out
Like scary stories. To tell
scary
in the
stories,
dark,
but
yeah.
no, like actual stories. We'd read like big books of
Yeah.
haunted like stories. We'd also always like the Amityville books. I always liked reading those when I was a kid. Like some of those.
Yeah, those are good. And
Harry
I
Potter's
have
got
that
some
one over
ghosts in
there
it.
It does.
too. The Entity, I have that. We have a lot of those books, and I do like reading those for fun. But I really do enjoy reading a lot of the ones that are supposed to be based off of real events.
Yeah.
I really
So,
like
like,
the real.
and-
Clearly, I'm not a big book reader. So
If you're looking for books like about, I think you'd have to go more narrow, like for more non-fiction-y things. Like you'd have to pick and look into like Celtic ghost stories, for the more real stuff rather than like a compilation. And there also is by one of the guys from TAPS, Ghost Hunters for Dummies.
yeah, that's my
That's-
jam.
that actually has like a lot of good reviews and talks about the equipment,
Yeah.
how to get started,
Yeah, beginner
What's the-
stuff.
the
They
show-
used to have a show like that too. That
Yeah.
helped
We were
beginners.
watching on Netflix with the ghost stories on.
Oh, the haunted,
I think it's just called The Haunted.
the haunting, or the
I mean,
haunted.
that's not a book, but that was, they
A
did a pretty
Haunting
good
was
job
on
with
Travel
that.
Channel, and that was a great show. I like
The
that.
one that-
And it's
yeah.
still on
And
Travel Channel.
The Haunted is on Netflix, where we watched it.
Yeah.
They did the
Interview,
reenactments.
like,
Those-
yeah.
I like reading not just the parrot, but I like the cryptid stuff. I like the UFO stuff. People that have been,
Probed.
probe. Sure.
Ronnie wants to know about what your thoughts on aliens are.
If we're
That's
the
a
only
whole nother
intelligent
conversation.
life forms in this universe, that's pretty.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
pretty
no.
sad.
Just say that.
I think you have to be really
Egotistical
ignorant and obnoxious to think that we're the only intelligent life form
in this
all
whole
cosmos.
Okay, well, what
universe.
about the people that don't believe there's more to the galaxy?
I think
nobody
a lot of
doesn't
people
believe there's
are
more
just
reality.
fearful.
There's
of
people
what they
that
don't
believe.
know.
I'm
Those
not gonna
are
get too
also
into
the
it, but there are
people
people that don't
think
believe
the Earth
that
is flat and you might.
not me,
saw
obviously,
that.
We
but
have
people
a lot
that
of
can't think outside
UFO
of the
story
galaxy.
stuff
you
that
know what I mean?
we've seen over the years too, or heard about some really great stories. Maybe we'll do an episode about that.
Yeah, not about ghosts, about other than ghosts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, mathematically.
Aliens being visited.
Mathematically,
It
like, the
doesn't make sense to
probability of
think
us
that,
being
yeah.
the only life is
Well,
Vague.
to zero.
Almost, yeah, zero.
the U.S.
Yeah.
government themselves are actually acknowledging it now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they denied it for the longest time, but for them to like
Yeah.
come out and finally say like, look,
No,
like,
Oh yeah, the government's starting to release stuff. I
Because
heard
they
of
can't
a new,
deny it any longer.
a new tech company in Texas that are now doing a worldwide database without judgment. That's what they say on there. We're not going to say, well, we're going to investigate.
Welcome,
these
Julie
claims. We're
Renee.
gonna build a database that anybody can go online. So the world's starting to change.
Yeah.
It's starting to
Now,
open their
I
eyes, I
don't-
think, to that kind of thing.
I'm not necessarily, me personally, saying like, oh, I believe like, people are abducted and blah, blah. I believe that a lot of those people, like Whitley Strieber, the author, believes wholeheartedly that he was.
I mean, you got to think though, if they have that
But-
kind of technology to come here, why
Well,
wouldn't
and I'm
they
gonna
have
say
the
on the
technology
record,
that,
I believe his
clear
story.
your mind or make you forget that type of thing? Not saying that that's true, but
I
why
have that
wouldn't
book
that be
over
an
there,
option?
too.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Communion, Whitley
Communion.
Strieber. It's an interesting alien book. If
Very
you're
good
looking
book.
for
And
something
he
to
was
read.
the first was brave enough to really come out and tell his story.
But that aside, like I said, like just the vastness of the universe, how many billions of planets there are, whether they come here or not, it's a different thing and
right,
whatever.
but they're there.
yeah, there would have to be life
well, they've
forms
even found like
existing in the universe.
they found like
period.
And I certainly think they
bacteria
are trying to
organisms
study
on
us.
other planets.
Yeah,
So if
and
you
You
I-
know, we need is a transmitter in our toe.
Well,
yeah,
they could study you in lots of different ways. We can't tell you why that's funny. When we are in this
Lisa has
business,
a transmitter in her toe.
Lisa wishes she had a
in this
transmitter,
business,
so-
we get a lot of people that have some
We can
really
tell 'em-
out there stories, and we
put
go
out
and
details.
investigate whether we think they're truthful or not.
Do they follow us?
Sometimes it's just people that might have a little bit mental illness.
Do they follow us on Facebook?
Yes, and they follow us on everything, so we gotta be careful. But I do believe that some people have had transmitted. I do believe that, you know.
Check it out.
I can tell
It's
you
in
right
there,
now,
I swear.
if we go to another planet, right, as a government, we're going to take every life form we can find and do all kinds of tests on
I
it.
mean, we don't have to
And
go to
that's
another
wrong.
planet. We
That's
do it
wrong.
on
We
this
don't.
planet.
We
do it
wouldn't
on
want
this
that
planet,
done
right?
to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and because we think of them as
Yeah.
lesser beings of some sort, because we're the master race, right?
Yeah.
Same kind of thing I think happened with people of other,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
planets or wherever they might be from. You know, it might not even be a planet.
Yeah.
Let's
But
wrap this up, though.
yeah, they're checking us out. They're
Yeah.
going to learn
We
as much
should-
as they can, and
We should do one on like aliens
Well,
or
we
something.
can.
In our
Other
opinions,
stuff,
and what we
yeah.
think, and
That's
what we've
what we
seen.
might
Non-ghost.
see multiple
The
times.
Non-ghost,
Unsolved
yeah.
Mysteries has a really
Extraterrestrial.
good UFO series.
The extraterrestrial.
Not just
Podcast
ghosts,
one.
but just we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Or I mean, not just aliens, but we'll talk about everything non-ghost, supernatural, but non-ghost related.
There you
Right.
go.
Paran-
Yeah.
Paranormal
Just
stuff.
UFO stuff should be a full episode.
Perturbation.
Cryptids would be
Supernatural.
a really cool one too, especially some of the native stuff. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
cool, creepy.
But yeah, we'll let our viewers get
Ronnie
going here.
mentioned skinwalkers a while back. I'm afraid of them.
Yeah, most people are.
We don't like
There's a
we don't
story
want to
for
deal with them at
Palisade.
all.
Ooh, yeah, Ronnie, if you're still watching, because I think we should record just record it so we can put it up later, because we have investigations coming up and we're not going to be the Hen Coop 2. So Ronnie, if you got time, send Chrissy your story, and if you don't mind, when we get to that part,
Well, we're doing
We'll
it after
talk
this
about-
video, so.
talk about Ronnie's story about that, because that'd be
She could
Like that
also
story that
send
happened with we were at Incoop the second
send
time.
her
No,
story
about
about
skinwalkers.
aliens to
Oh.
Shane, and he can incorporate that when we do the
You can
alien
send me
show.
anything. I should say, we had a member that's on Facebook. Been there for quite a while now. She messaged me privately telling me about this. You know, we got a number of investigations coming up. One of them is a Katie's Inn in Franklinville. And she said that she went in there with some friends one night. They had been, partying. Went in there to have a drink. She got creeped out, and she saw this stuff. These people in the staircase, scared her to death. But the whole time she's trying to tell me it, because I had to, feel free to tell
Yeah.
her. She's like, I know I sound crazy. I know I sound crazy. And a lot of people
Like, do you
that.
know what we do?
Yeah, have you
Hey,
watched our show?
we're not going to think you sound crazy. We want to hear these stories.
Yeah.
We,
Um,
if nothing else, it's entertainment value, but we're not going to judge you. Except for
Yeah.
Lisa, apparently, with the tongue.
With-
But other than that,
I mean, I judge that one too.
With that being said,
It
feel
was
free if you guys have any
between
stories
phones.
related to that. Feel free to message any of us if you're okay with us speaking about it.
we'll share our stuff.
Yeah, let
There's
us
a lot of
know.
stuff we won't put out there, but
Yeah, when you tell us a story, and because we want to hear your stories, just let us know, like,
If you want
if
it
it's
private.
okay to share or not.
Yeah.
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 Also, feel free to check out our store. We got some new stuff on there, or we're going to. We have several things on there right now. Feel free to check out our link tree. Follow us on all of our social medias.
platforms,
Yep. For you
Lisa's-
TikTok guys,
ghostlychronicles.com, blog.
yeah, there you go. TikTok guys, click the link in my bio to get to our Facebook page and all of our other socials on there. Lisa, you want to say your little thing?
Happy huntings.
Thank you guys for watching. See you later.
Okay, so we're ready?
What time is it?
It's about that time. In a minute. How does that song go?
In a minute, I'm gonna need
Yeah,
a sentimental man or woman.
Pump me up.
Is it?
Pump me up.
Oh.
Not hump me
I thought it
up.
was. I meant to say hype and pump me up, and I said hump me up.
So Hunter is looking
Lance,
for
keep
a
that in.
man
Somebody
to
else
pump
him up.
him up.